miss her, and thinking of you, all of us. It'll be a loss. She was my mom's sister.
How you doing? Woo! Yeah, no grass growing under that one's feet.
Well, we just lost one of our angels, but maybe she was needed elsewhere. She'll be missed.
To celebrate my mother's life, a wonderful life that my mother lived for 92 years. And so happy that so many people are here in her honor and to share memories.
Donna. She was the most special person in this town. She was a gift to us. We're really grateful for her being.
Welcome, France family. In particular, we want to welcome all of the brothers and sisters and sons and daughters and extended family. Our heart here at the center goes out to you at this time. Is anything coming through? You hear me a little bit? Maybe the pulpit. There's a pulpit mic back there. Turn it up. It says pulpit on it. Testing. Hear me now? Hear me now? Hear me now. Okay. Friends, patrons of Golden Leaves, we're here in a celebration in the life of Donna Mae McCrary France. I had the blessing to know Donna for a couple of years, not a short time, but but you meet people on your path that you know you've known in other lives. And Donna and I were like that. From the very get-go, there was a connection there. She was a mentor and an advisor, a fellow traveler on a spiritual path. Jean said when we were meeting, she said, Donna's light lit the paths of many. And there aren't many people on this planet that light up a lot of lives, and she was one of those. I don't think I ever met a person more well-read in the metaphysical world. Mm-hmm. And she could send you right where you needed to be, and cared. And a twinkle in her eye, there was an inquisitiveness that she was with till the last time I spoke to her. She always had that searching mind. She was a blessing in my life. So we're here to celebrate a life well lived and a human being that touched many. If you would you please recite the 23rd Psalm with me? It's on the back of the program. All right. Here we go. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever and ever. Amen. Here at the Center of Spiritual Oneness, we are very big believers in silence and the power of silence. So, with Donna in our hearts, let's all close our eyes, take some deep breaths, let this world go, and hold Donna in that golden light, like which we know she is in right now. Let's just have a minute of silence for our friend and mother.
It is my pleasure, my absolute pleasure, to read this brief life sketch of our Donna. Donna Mae McGreary, France, of Hot Springs, Arkansas, with family at her side, made her transition on January 17th, 2018, from being an angel on earth to being an angel in heaven. She was young at heart and lived a full and vibrant life for 92 years until a few days ago when a severe stroke suddenly took her away. She was bold, an independent pioneer throughout her life. Raised during the Depression, she became a very successful businesswoman in insurance and real estate. She was the first woman to be elected as a director to the Indiana Board of Insurance. She moved from Anderson, Indiana, to New Orleans in 1962. There she started the Golden Leaves bookstore with an inventory of only 5 books, and developed it into one of the largest metaphysical centers in the nation. In 1989, she visited Hot Springs, Arkansas, searching for a new home. She opened the second Golden Leaves Center and relocated here. She always took an active part in her community. She served as a board member of the Center for Spiritual Oneness. She was an active member of the she was a board member of the Creative Life Church here in Hot Springs, and later was a founding member of the Center for Spiritual Oneness. She was an active member of the Urban League, Hot Springs Gallery Walk, Women's Chamber of Commerce, Malvern Avenue Community Association, and the Downtown Merchants Association. She was active. She had enthusiasm. She was with us in the Hot Springs Jazz Society. Please come in. Stardust Band, Farmers Market Association, Hot Springs Artists Society, Garland County Historical Society, and the Association for Research and Enlightenment. She was focused, detailed, diligent in her business and associations. Yet her unique sense of humor and silliness was always present, and she was a joy to be with. Mm-hmm. She was a light for many people on many paths. Her wisdom, as well as her deviled duck eggs, you've all had those, I take it, will always be remembered. Donna is survived by her dear friend and companion, the love of her life, Frank Adams, her brother, Kenneth and Doris McGrary, her daughter, Jean Jester, her sons, Byron France and Eric and Denise France. She has 10 grandchildren and several great-grandchildren. And I'm going to name them because I think there's quite a few here today. And if I've missed anyone, please let me know. There's Christine Lester Jinks, Jessica Ellis, Bonnie and Lewis Deering, Jules France, Mickey and Shannon Waltz, Tricia Mitchell Hoffman, Donna, Michael Matraniti. Please help me. Laramie France, Angela Weatherton, and Melanie France. There are several great-grandchildren. She is a lifelong animal lover. She had 2 dogs and 5 goats at this time.
Wow. Wow.
She was predeceased by her parents, William Burgess McCrary and Tracy Ittle McCrary, her brothers Lowell, Sumiko McCrary, Leroy McCrary, her sister Treva Russell Cockerman, and her son Preston J. France. Did I leave anyone out? Wow, what a family, what a family. What a grand lady. For me, Donna was a woman that moved on this planet, this earth, and very sure-footed. Was not afraid. There were many challenges, but just very briefly, in our meditations together, Donna and others, when she looked you in the eye, you knew, you just knew. There's one more thing I'd like to honor her with, and if you would all just close your eyes, it's just very, very brief. It's from the book of John, and it's revealing some truths. Quote, "You must not let yourself be distressed. You must hold to your faith in God and to your faith in me. There are many rooms in my Father's house. If there were not, should I have told you that I am going away to prepare a place for you? It is true that I am going away to prepare a place for you, but it is just as true that I am coming again to welcome you into my home so that you may be where I am. You know where I am, where I am, where I am, and you know the way I am going." And yet in that presence of Jesus, Thomas doubted and said, "We do not know where you're going, and how can we know what way you are going to take?" "I myself am the way," replied Jesus, "and the truth and the life." Thank you so much.
Well, Donna requested that we do In the Garden, so I'm going to request that, or it was requested, and I'm sure Donna loved this song, that you sing it with me. I think we've all sang it at one time or another, so I'd like for you to join me. Donna was one of my favorite people on the planet. I come to the garden alone while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. He speaks, and the sound of his voice is so sweet, the birds hush their singing, and his melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing. Sing it out. And he walks garden with him. Oh, the night around me be falling, but he bids me go through the voice of woe. His voice to me is calling, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why then, why can't I? Fly on, sweet lady.
I must say that I'm very jealous of most of the people in the room today because I feel like I knew Donna for such a short time. And you all we're blessed with a magnificent lady. And I'll probably cry for a few minutes, but I'll gain it back in a minute. So, Donna France, born in June of 1925. She was on this earth with us 92 and a half years. Wow, 92 and a half years. I just can't imagine experiencing life of that long. The opportunities, the challenges, the joys, the sufferings, the love. She was part of what was often called the greatest generation. Think of all she saw of the journey of mankind. Born in the roaring 20s, she saw the crash of the stock market, the Great Depression, World War II, jazz, swing, big bands, and the birth of rock and roll. Radio, black and white TV, to color TV, to what is it now? 4D UHD TV. The birth of rock and roll, radio, but that's just history. I think of the evolution of culture that she witnessed. And not only that she witnessed, she chose to become part of it. She instigated, I would imagine, in those early years. She was just looking at her past and listening to the family stories that I heard this past week. I just admire this woman. When we were planning this gathering, I heard Eric and Jean and Frank describe her with words like adventurer, visionary. And they talked about how she lived her life and described the life circumstances which were difficult, to say the least. And they described her as a wayshower. She was a light to so many. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. She was a light to so many on their spiritual paths. Born in a time when women were expected to stay home, keeping house and raising children, an honorable profession to be sure. Born in a time when few women stepped outside their roles except to be secretaries or nurses. I'm a nurse. Or teachers. Donna became an entrepreneur. From a 2-room camp on the bank of a bayou, she built one of the largest metaphysical bookstores in the United States, all while raising 4 children. Not only did she light the way for women in the world, she was a light on our paths to truth. I must say, to me, Donna was a legend, and I was a bit intimidated by her. I heard about Donna a couple of years before I even met her. I understand she read all those books in the store. And not only read them, she met with the authors, hosted the authors, and she knew what was in the books, and she could teach it. She could talk about it, and she understood it, and she lived the truth from those books. She loved people. And Lucinda mentioned that she could look at you. Yeah, she had that look, and she would have a little smile about, yep. She knew something about you from looking at you. And she didn't tolerate insincerity. I learned that. She looked at you, and she could know you, and her presence seemed to command a certain level of veracity from everyone around her. I think it would be very difficult to be less than truthful with Donna. She was a wise, wise woman. I loved it when she attended my classes and book studies because though she was often quiet, and I thought, well, maybe she just can't hear. She did have a little hearing loss. But when she spoke, there was a depth of understanding that always surprised me. And she had a solid core of peace within her. We were studying Byron Katie's The Work last fall. One of the exercises was to journal on a subject or a person or a circumstance that bothered you. She found this exercise very difficult. And when I questioned her, she said she found that being upset about anything took too much effort. She found no value in it. So she just didn't allow herself to hold on to anything that might be bothersome. Wow. That was a huge lesson for me. There's just no value in it. It still blows me away when I think of that class. She was a way shower, a light on the path. Her life showed everyone she encountered how to live courageously, how to live life with integrity. She showed us how to dance and sing and laugh. She showed us how to climb the mountains and overcome the obstacles and maintain love and happiness and joy and peace. I asked what were some of her favorite poems, and I was really surprised at first when Jean said The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. But it immediately rang true. What an adventurer she was. And I have to tell you, Jean, that was one of my father's favorites. So it's very special to me. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Doesn't that describe Donna? She was that adventurer. She took the road that other women did not choose to take, the road that was less traveled, that may have been presented her with a little bit more challenge. But I never saw Donna afraid. You've known her longer, but I don't think that you often saw her afraid either. She told me once when she was a young woman that she was paralyzed for a while. And that was when she learned the effort it took to hold on to grievances, the challenges. She took the road less traveled and chooses through us to leave those bothersome ideas and disturbances in our heart, to leave them for another day should we ever decide to come back this way. I hope that we all choose that less traveled road that Donna chose. Let's carry with us an acknowledgement of the space that Donna once occupied in our lives. It is that space which Donna once occupied that makes us who we are. That space in this moment is an aching, wretched emptiness, a deep gaping hole. That ache is the memory of her that's etched in our hearts forever. Douglas Adams said in the Book of Joy, "Without love there is no grief." So when we feel our grief, uncomfortable and aching as it may be, it's actually a reminder of the beauty of that love, now lost. To linger in the longing, the loss, the yearning is a way of feeling the rich and embroidered texture of life, the torn cloth of our world that is endlessly being ripped and rewoven. But the truth is that that space is not empty, neither is it an abyss. It is the space which Donna once occupied, which makes us who we are. There's a Zen proverb. It is the silence between the notes that makes the music. It's the space between the bars that cages the tiger. It's only for a moment that we shall feel the pain of her absence. In time, that ache will be transformed as she has been. That ache will ease as we allow the love that Donna was to fill the void left by the transformation of her body. But let that space remain for a while and grieve her passing as long as you need grieve. And as your grief passes, allow that space to transform as she transformed. Allow that empty abyss to fill. Fill it with moments of Donna. Fill it with those moments we shared with her. Close your eyes for just a moment and invite a memory, a moment that you had with Donna into your mind. Share that remembrance with her. Sartre, in The Age of Reason, she smiled and said with an ecstatic air, "It shines like a diamond." What does? This moment. It's round. It hangs in empty space like a diamond. I am eternal. Donna has simply transformed to more fully be the magnificent one. In letting go of the form of her body, she has simply returned to the truth of her formlessness. And in that truth, Donna has expanded and fused with each of us. She has become one with each of us. Now I'd like for us to hear some of the memories that family and friends have of Donna. I think the family is going to go first, and once the family members, if there's any friends who would like to share, I invite you to come up and just say a few short words. Who's first? You first? Sure. Okay. This is from Jean. On behalf of my family, thank you all for being here. It's heartbreaking to lose my mama, and I'll miss her every day until I see her again. All of you being here today does bring comfort. I know the ripples she generated in her life touched many of you. My mama introduced many people to new paths. She was bigger than life and the most non-judgmental person I have ever met. Just accepted everyone for who they were. This quiet yet astounding lady we are here to honor taught me how to survive and thrive. Mom lived a very full life. It wasn't always easy, just like it's not for us. But she taught me by example how to laugh through the tears, how to find silver linings, and how to negotiate the obstacles and carry on. I learned many other valuable things from my mother, but the priceless gift she gave to me was complete and unconditional love. I know she loved every molecule of my being. Even when we didn't get along, usually my fault, I never doubted her love. Thank you, Mama. I love you.
It's wonderful to see so much love in this room, and I know how much my mom meant to all of you. I thank all of you for coming here today to celebrate her life. Mom was a lot of things to a lot of people, and I'm sure each of you can say something special about who she was for you, and I do invite you to please come up and say it. Also, we have some cards in the back that I would ask you to fill out with any special thoughts that you might like to have. That we can have for a memory book that we'll be putting together for her. Put any stories or thoughts that you have on those. I want to let you know the Center for Spiritual Oneness here and the people who are this church were a very important part of Mom's life. I would ask if you're able to do so, please make a contribution to the church, and I would invite you to attend their weekly services. Right here. Oh, can you hear me now better? No? Yes. Speak. Okay. Mom inspired me to love reading, real estate, photography, and dancing, but there are many more important things than these that I learned from her. I'll tell you a little bit about who Donna France, my mom, was for me. As mentioned before, she was an adventurer. I learned to be an adventurer because she was an adventurer. She taught me to read a map before I could read a book. Mom crashed her first car, a 1937 Roadster, I think, into an ice truck and flipped the truck upside down. She wasn't hurt, but she was amused at all the kids coming out to slide down the hill on the giant blocks of ice from the ice truck. Where was she going that she was so focused that she didn't even see an ice truck? Sycamore Street. She had never been there, and she wanted to see Sycamore Street. Well, I haven't hit any ice trucks, but I've been on many adventures with Mom and without her to many faraway places. When I got a bicycle for my 9th birthday, I rode it all over town exploring. One day I rode it to the far edge of town. There was a sign there that said, Chesterfield, 10 miles. Mom and I had driven near that sign many times, but we had never taken that road. I kept pedaling my bicycle past miles of cornfields until finally I saw a sign that said, Welcome to Chesterfield, and the half a dozen farmhouses that make up Chesterfield, and I was quite satisfied. I pedaled back home. Every adventure I seek or even imagine, I'm sure that I have that same sense of wonder, that same sense of excitement that she had on her way to Sycamore Street. She was a visionary. She always had a vision of what she wanted in life, and she pursued that vision. It didn't matter what the norm was. She wasn't concerned about fitting in to anyone else's idea about what one's life should or should not be about. She had times of difficulty, confusion, and discouragement in her life, but even during those times, she had a vision of finding a vision, and she never stopped pursuing her visions. She was a survivor. She had more than her share of catastrophes and hardships during her life. Many times she said, "A cat has 9 lives. I've had more than that." She had severe hemorrhage and went into a coma after my birth, had several severe auto accidents, rabies treatment after being bitten by a fox, twice bitten by brown recluse spiders, phlebitis, heart problems, heat stroke, and as many of you know, many fainting spells. She's had financial difficulties, marital and relationship difficulties, and her share of problems with fitting in with our so-called normal society. But she was persistent and tenacious, and she survived all of that. Shortly after she opened her first metaphysical bookstore in New Orleans in 1968, she was arrested twice for practicing the occult. Of course, that's not what she was doing, but they didn't understand. Each time, she was back to work the next day, even more determined to sell her books on enlightenment and helping others find answers to life's big questions. Here are some things I learned from Mom. I learned to be self-reliant. When I was 10 and I wanted some money, she drove me past a house in our neighborhood. Mom was in real estate. She said, "Tomorrow, knock on that door and tell the lady your mom wants to sell that house, and then I'll give you $5. So I did. I don't know how that turned out, but I do know that now I have the courage to knock on doors. I've knocked on many, and many have been opened. I learned from her to become independent, thoughtful, and self-correcting. She always appreciated the little things I did for her, and she had a gentle way of letting me learn the hard lessons in life. And I made lots of mistakes, but she didn't scold me or yell at me, and she seldom became angry. When I was 14, I was good at building model cars and giving them fancy paint jobs. Mom drove a nice little compact car, a 1961 Chevy Corvair. It looked okay in white, but I thought Mom should be driving a beautiful golden car. I knew how to paint cars. I'd done many models. So I took my paper route earnings for that week, and I bought 3 cans of metallic gold paint. I knew she would be so happy to drive a golden car. I didn't have masking tape, but I was careful not to get paint on the tires, the bumpers, and the windshield. I was disappointed when I ran out of paint after painting only the hood and 2 front fenders. And I had no more money for paint. I didn't know what to do, so I called my mom outside to the driveway, and I said, I asked her to look at my thoughtful gift. She looked at the car, and she looked at me with her hands clasped, and she didn't say a word. I could tell how she knew I was trying to do something special for her, and that she appreciated my gesture. And if I wasn't sure that I had done the wrong thing, it became clear when she came home 2 days later with a different car. My mom was not a traditional parent as far as her parenting methods. In my early teenage years, I was rebellious, surprise, as many teenagers are. I was struggling with what I thought was a hard life. I was tired of getting up at 4 a.m. every morning to deliver newspapers, going to school all day, then studying, then doing my chores. All this while the Beach Boys and the Surfer Girls were having fun in California. I had a plan. I saved my paper route earnings for 3 weeks, $60, and hitchhiked to California. But my dream was interrupted when I got to the Texas border, and police picked me up as a runaway. and brought me to the local jail. They called Mom, and they were a bit surprised when Mom told them just to keep me there for a few days. I was the only person in the jail. It was a small town jail, and the police officers were very nice to me. But Mom wanted me to learn a lesson, and I did. It didn't take me long to figure out that there are consequences for bad decisions in life. A few days later, after a long bus ride home, she picked me up at the bus station, and she didn't scold me. We talked about what happened. And then a few days later, she gave me a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I read every word in that book and felt enlightened. When I finished that, she gave me How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. She helped me learn how to solve my problems instead of running away from them. I learned to be compassionate. I learned what it means to be hurt and to be disappointed by others, not because she hurt or disappointed me. I can't think of a time that she ever hurt anyone. But I saw her being hurt and disappointed so many times by others and the pain it caused her. I knew that I would never want to hurt or disappoint anyone like she had been hurt. I learned what it means to love and care for someone, and that friends and family are special, not because she told me, but because I could see how she loved and cared for us and for others, and how she lived her life. I'm so grateful for her. Mom believed in me. She empowered me. She set an example for me. She loved me. She was always there for me. These are the greatest gifts a parent can give to a child. Mom, I thank you. I love you. I will always be grateful. A week before she passed away, she said to me, Frank is the only real man I've ever known. He accepts me for who I am. He never has a cross word. We enjoy every minute together, and I know he loves me with all his heart. Thank you, Frank Adams, for loving Mom, for being a part of our family, and for giving Donna France the best 2 years of her life.
Has known her far longer than I have. I only knew her 2 years, but the impact she made on, she opened up a whole universe for me. I thought I knew a little bit about American history. I was pushing back into ancient, but this one was a glowing light of metaphysics. I didn't even know what it was even when I was in college. So I was really thrilled that I was getting all this information. And every time I turned around, she had a new thought, and she let me share her friends and her family with me. I told her many times, Donna, I love you, but I love your family too. It meant so much to me. You would think I was born an only child. Eventually I had 2 brothers. But then things about her, I was dating her, and she found, after church, I take her over to my house, and she'd go to my mother, and I said, Frank, you got more books than I do. How can I have more books than a lady, a woman, so knowledgeable? They had a whole bookstore. And she was, I couldn't believe she was so impressed with that. And I was so grateful. And then she started activating the bookstore here, and then she started getting back into looking for books. And every book would come in these big boxes. I thought, oh my God. And Frank, you gotta read this. You gotta read this. I'm a professor at the university. You gotta read this. Whoa. And so anyway, I had a thought there about her and her books. Every time she picked up a book, she'd take it in the bedroom and read it. She'd come out and say, Frank, this is the best book I ever read. Okay, now comes the next book. The next day, she just gets the book, goes to the bedroom, looks at the book, bam! Frank, this is the best book I ever read. me because these were great books. How would I even know what direction to go in? See, that's the key. She had a direction. She shared it with me. And through her, I got to meet all you wonderful people. We went to poetry. How would I go to poetry? But I had someone to go with. And it was very enlightening for me. Every poet had so much to say. They expanded my heart and mind. There was a man, Jason, he talked about the universe, round and round. Oh, I was just, she introduced me to all that. And this wonderful church that she formed. I'm not going to talk anymore. She made that. The only thing I know for sure is I loved her very much. I was the love of her life. She was the love of my life, folks. And I'm glad I had those 2 years with her. They were marvelous 2 years. And I met all these wonderful people. Oh, welcome to our church. This was wonderful. Who's speaking for this? You guys? All right. I'll relinquish the floor.
Okay. Can everybody hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Okay. I'm really nervous, so I'm probably not going to look up. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica, or as Granny affectionately called me, Jessic. Apparently the A was too much. Or Christine, or Jeannie, or anyone else that was on her mind simultaneously. I knew immediately that I wanted to speak today because I have so many memories of my granny that I wanted to share. A couple of disclaimers first. As you heard about from my mom earlier, Granny taught us to laugh through the tears. So this is not meant to be depressing and sad, but rather to be a celebration of her uniqueness and to provide depth to the memories that you all have of her. Therefore, I hope that you laugh more than you cry, and if you do have to cry, that I hope it's with happy thoughts of her in your mind. And second, there is no possible way I could cram 92 and a half years of stories into one single speech, nor could I possibly communicate to you how much we loved her. Even though that word just doesn't seem right, doesn't seem adequate. Okay, so where to begin? I really struggled with that, not knowing where to begin until yesterday. Yes, I wrote this yesterday. I realized the most common thread throughout her life, from my perspective, was the intense dichotomies within it, and that was not only what defined her, but what I loved most about her. She always had the softest hands. She always had the softest hands. It was such a vivid memory, I don't even have to close my eyes to feel it. Sorry. This is such a vivid memory, I don't even have to close my eyes to feel them. Yet, she was the hardest working person I had ever met. Although she regularly informed my sister and I about the unflattering nature of our wardrobe choices. Unfortunately, we grew up in the 90s. She was the most accepting person in spirit. She always accepted people for who they were and where they were in life. And she always said, live and let live, and it shaped my entire outlook on the world. My granny was the most logical, organized, factual person I ever knew. Yet, right past that persona, she loved incredibly deeply and unconditionally. And although she was welcoming and personable to everyone she met, few people in her life knew that side of her. I'm lucky I was one of those. Whew. Okay, another joke coming. Okay, All she ever knew how to cook for us growing up was grilled cheese sandwiches with raisin bread. Not my choice. They were not good. Mine were plain and delicious. Christine's had raisin bread. Not good. However, she did recently perfect the art of deviled eggs, the responsibility for which has been passed on to Frank. As many of you know, she was an avid photographer who took very seriously the art of candid shots. There are probably hundreds of pictures in her portfolios of unflattering moments of all of us. Yet, when we were posing for a picture, she would scold my sister and I for making funny faces and ruining the picture by saying, "Don't be ugly." It always made me laugh and still does. Granny went through so many seemingly insurmountable tragedies in her life that she proceeded to use as catalysts to reinvent herself time and time again. She was really phenomenal. I could go on and on about the life lessons she taught me growing up, about men and relationships, family, tolerance, and strength. But that's not what will live on with me forever. Her love lessons are what shaped my philosophies. She was goofy and witty and stoic and compassionate and ever present. And I am me because of her. I have realized that I'm more and more like my granny than I ever really knew. She gave me 32 years of love and laughter and lessons. And as evidenced by everybody here today, she gave those things to more than just me. I hope one day in the very, very far future that I'm remembered and loved as much as she is and will be. She was my last grandparent and the only one that was truly a part of my soul. I would not be the person I am today, and this is her philosophy, if anybody hears this. I would not be the person that I am today if the universe had assigned me a different grandparent. This is not in here, but I used to get so mad when I would have a problem with my mom or dad or whatever, and she said, "Well, you were assigned them for some reason." I don't know how that's supposed to make me feel any better. Like I did this to myself, apparently. I will do as she taught me and carry on with her in my heart and mind with a smile on my face, dancing and laughing all the way till the end. I will leave you this one last piece of advice, the best advice she ever gave me, and often, if I might add. Never wish your life away. Don't say this or that. When this or that happens, you'll finally be happy. Don't wait to live your life. Live it now. There's a finite quantity of it, so make sure the quality is high. Thank you.
Donna France was an important part in so many people's lives. And I didn't get to know her as well as I wish I could have, but she did teach me so much important stuff. But one major important thing: never convince yourself to go without something you feel is necessary. Say it again, dear. It's good. It's very good. Never force yourself to live without something you feel is necessary. Never let someone else try to take something out of your life that you need there. She lit the path to my future. She taught me so much that I never want to lose. And I've had so many people out there in the world tell me that that's not how it should be done. And that's not how it's viewed as correct. But what's really how anything should be done? There's no one set way to do anything. There's about 1,000,010. There's never a set way that anything has to be done. It's how you feel it should be done. And she was always the person who drilled that into everyone. She was always the person that stopped me from looking around and conforming to everything. When the first time I met her, I was little, and she sang Over the Rainbow to me because I was messing around with my friend Allie, and we were singing together. And she showed us that there's so much more than how things have to be done, and that you don't have to do everything the way someone else wants it done. The only important thing is that it gets done. And there really is no right or wrong path. It's where there's bumps in the road and things that get you in trouble, there's still an amazing path behind that. It's still, it's hard to put into words. It's not a, this is where you're going, this is where you have to be. It's a, this is where you choose to be. If you don't want it to be this way, then don't let it. She was the one person that always drilled in the fact that mind over matter. It's an important key to life. It helped me through so much. She was the only great-grandparent that I had that really wanted anything to do with me, so she was always there. And I know to all of us, she was more than just family. She was a lot of our best friends. And I am grateful that I had that. And she griped at me quite a bit when I was younger, because I had a tendency to say the phrase, I can't wait till I'm older. And now it's got me seeing that when you do live your life to the fullest every day is when it's the most important. It doesn't matter how old you are. She always griped at me and said, don't say when you're older, because you're older every minute of every day. Say when you are ready. Because when you let yourself be mentally ready to do something is when it can be done the best.
To have known Donna, she was always helpful. If I needed something, it was almost before I called, she had already answered. I called her once and asked if she knew the publisher of a book that I had heard about and I wanted to read. She said, let me think. I'll call you back. In a little while, she called back and said, I went and looked in some books I'd stored and I found it. Just tell me when you want to pick it up. That was Donna. I'll always remember her. And I would desire that we should never think of her in any kind of a limited form or life, but always a traveler on the pathway to life, always guided and kept by our wonderful, loving Creator. She was a traveler. She has put on invisibility. Dear Lord, I cannot see, but this I know, although the road ascends and passes from my side, that there will be no night. That you will take her gladly, has taken her already by the hand, and take her gently and lead her on along the road of life that never ends. And she will find it is not death, but dawn. And I do not doubt that you are there as here, and you will hold her dear. Our life did not begin with birth. It is not of the earth. And this that we call death is no more but the opening and closing of a door. And in your house, how many rooms must be beyond this one where we rest momently? Dear Lord, I thank you for the faith that frees, the love that knows it cannot lose its own, the love that looking through the shadows sees that Donna and you and we are always one. We bless you, Donna, on your way.
I don't know how many of you know about Donna and her travels, but I know about a lot of them because I was with her. And she happened to come to my once a week meditation and prayer group when she could. She was still running her business, but she sometimes would leave her darling son there in charge and come sneak off to my house. And we had such a tight-knit group meeting every week that we decided to take trips together as well. And we went to Branson a lot, and we also went to Hawaii. We went to see the Mayan ruins in Mexico. We took a few little cruises. So little did I know, when I came to visit her in the hospital, she was unconscious just a few days before her transition, and I touched her, and little did I know she was going to go on another trip with me. She made that possible through her knowing and her wisdom and her beautiful being that she was. It was so profound that it stuck with me for days, and I had to write a little something about it. So I'd like to read that to you. It's called The Valley of the Shadow. And like the rest of you, I've said the Valley of the Shadow of Death many times, but I didn't really understand what it was. Dearest Donna, I came to say goodbye, old friend. As I drew near, I could hear your labored breathing. I could feel your resolve to keep on. I also sense your transition into the valley of the shadow of death. Some of us go willingly and knowingly, step by step, until our journey is complete. Some of us suddenly go and are transported to the other world. You were always the courageous one, the adventurer, and I noticed I'm not the only one using that word to describe her, and fearless traveler.
We have been on many journeys together. You never held back, and neither were you fearful of the outcome. It was always full steam ahead. I admire your resolve to take this last, third-dimensional journey slowly, to allow those close to you to know as much as we possibly could about the time-space that you were experiencing. We could sense your journey through your vibrations and your breath. As I touched you, I briefly took some steps into the valley with you. The valley of the shadow of death is a temporary one of being, neither here nor there. It is an interim state facilitating the process of letting go of the third-dimensional body and remembering who we truly are, a child of the universe full of light and love. Thank you, dear one, for the glimmer into your state of being as I touched you and walked with you. I can only describe the Shadow Valley as a waiting place. Seemed to be a state of suspended animation. I sensed no goals or hurry. I felt a contentment to just be and to prepare for the next experience. I felt like the valley is a place of calmness and peace, allowing you to adjust and to be ready for your next ride into time-space. I know that the universe is vast and that our life on this earth is such a tiny part. I know that I must let you go on and allow you to travel without me. I am with you in my thoughts and light. Remember that you are life. Remember that you are light. Remember that you are love. Most of all, remember to be. You soon will be walking and talking with the angels. You are light, so go to the brilliant white light of God. This is where you are home, to regroup and to continue on with your next adventure. Blessings on your way until we meet again, your friend Katja.
I'm sorry, I can't. I met her 10 years ago, and when I met her, I had no clue who she was or how she would become family. And even though my husband can't be here, she touched both our lives, but she made him feel more welcome to this town because, like her, he came from a very unique place. He came from New Orleans, and her shop helped him be him again. And then we met Jessica. We met Christine, and it just kept on going to where I don't know her as Donna. I've known her as Granny as long as this young lady has. She definitely would be missed.
I don't really need this, but I'll use it. My name's Bud. I host Wednesday Night Poetry. And Donna and Frank have been coming for the last couple of years, quite a bit. But I've known Donna a lot longer than that. I met her 30 years ago, right now. The carnival season was just starting. I don't know if you know this. And she had the big store down in New Orleans. And at the time, I was running the mule trolley here. And in the wintertime, I tried to find something else to do to make some money. So over the couple of years, I dug a whole bunch of crystal. And a friend of mine here said that, Sig Grossman, as a matter of fact, told me you need to stop down at Golden Leaves bookstore in New Orleans. And so I did. I told her Sig sent me. Well, that kind of opened the door, okay? And we got talking, and she said, so you're from Hot Springs? And I said, yeah. She said, well, I'm thinking about moving up there. I said, well, yeah, that'd work out. I think a good store would be good up there. I shouldn't have done that. She said, but if I buy a bunch of crystal from you, I'll have to move it all the way up there. Honest to God, that's what she said. Doesn't that sound like her? And I said, well, we're just trying to make some money to have a little vacation down in New Orleans. So she bought a little bit, okay, a few crystals. But then she took us on a tour of the store. What the store had, like 3 floors, I think it was, something like that. And she took us up into this, and there were several rooms. Those of you who never were there, it wasn't just a bookstore. It was a center. There were rooms that people came and they did different types of things in them. And she took me to this one big room. Do you remember the pyramid? Remember the copper pyramid? She had this big copper pyramid with all these crystals, and they had these wands sitting out from them. I said, well, what do they do with this? She said, well, people come up here and they meditate and they light this thing up. I said, it lights up? She said, well, I've never seen it. She said, I haven't been up here. I said, but it lights up? Typical Donna. Is that her or not? Yeah. So then I was still running the mule trolley, and next thing I know, she opened up the store that later became an office for the mule trolley. So we saw each other quite a bit. Then I opened up the Poet's Loft, and she came up there quite a bit. And so I feel like I know her. I don't know her as intimately as many of you, and certainly not as Frank. But, she was just a real special person. I want to share something with you, and then I'll sit down. I just want to tell you, I think she would like to have people having fun with where we're at right here, okay? And she doesn't want people to be sad about it, okay? Damn it, she's had a good time, and she's gone, okay? And so we're all going to have a good time with her, all right? I went to a funeral. It was a funeral. This is a celebration. I went to a funeral for a fellow that some of you may know. His name was Mark Ayers. And Mark Ayers was, I think, 52 when he died. And he had a massive heart attack, died in his sleep. And he was one of these real special people. And she knew him. They knew each other quite a bit. And when I was at that memorial service, it was very moving. And when I left, there were a lot of people, because this guy just, like her, he was gone. I mean, we thought Donna would be around forever, you know? And I was inspired after that to write this little short poem, and if you don't mind, I'm going to share it with you, because I think it fits. It's called How to Be a Better You. And so you move on, said the pastor at the funeral. Then he asked, how do you do that? Although we were all broken, not all of us were struggling with that question, but there were those among us who were. And this is what I want to say to them. Do what the preacher man says. Move on, but before you do, remember to scoop up the goodness of the soul departed and use it to make you a better you.
I met Donna in the mid-90s. I snuck in Golden Leaves bookstore looking behind my back to make sure none of the locals was going to see me go into this bookstore. I met Donna, and when I met Donna and walked into that bookstore, my whole life changed. But she also became, that store was a gathering place for so many of us. And I met some of the best friends. Of course, Mark Ayers and I had been friends for already a while. I met Leona. I met, those of you that know these names, Gary Fleck and Casey Williams. And I met a lot of people that were in this church as Unity when I was the music director here who have gone on. And many of those souls are rejoicing with Donna as they all gather together. Donna was a catalyst for gathering people together for different things and different purposes. And I was so fortunate to get to know her personally. She came to my show. Just her and Frank came just about every month. I'll miss her terribly, but I appreciate just the fact that she brought so many people together, so many people that have touched my life, and I theirs. And I'll be forever grateful for her wonderful, beautiful, youthful spirit at 90.
Doesn't matter how long you know somebody. What matters is that you know somebody.
That's right.
I just wrote this here, sitting there. A powerful being with a smile that rings, a heart that's true, with adventures anew, a mighty spiritual warrior, heaven's light courier, a solar queen with a very bright moonbeam.
I've known Donna, but I didn't realize she was orange, June 7th. I'm a triple Gemini, and I'm so much like this person with a very diverse life. So I'm not surprised, hearing all the extra things I didn't know about her earlier on.
Yes. Anyone else? So as we leave this place and go out into the community, as we re-enter our lives, let's bring with us that space in our heart that was Donna. Let's fill it with all the things that she brought to us, all the moments she shared with us. For we know that our moment with Donna was truly a holy encounter. And as Jesus tells us in the Course, when you meet anyone, remember, it's a holy encounter. As you see him, you will see yourself. As you treat him, you will treat yourself. As you think of him, you will think of yourself. Never forget this, for in him you will find yourself or lose sight of yourself. Whenever two sons of God meet, they are given another chance at salvation. Do not leave anyone without giving salvation to him and receiving it yourself. For I'm always there with you in remembrance of you. May our hearts be filled with the love of life that Donna brought with her wherever she went. Let's carry that love and share it with everyone we encounter, as she did. And when we were planning this, we were thinking that these Sunday services here were so important to Donna. We wanted to close just like we close our Sunday services with Donna. So I invite you to make a big circle around the pews. And we'll sing our Sunday morning benediction song. And I also want to invite you to please come down and share some snacks, some food, share memories with each other in the family. Don't forget those note cards for the family and write your stories and thoughts.
Everybody sing. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony.
Donna, or knew Donna, for very many years, and when I first came here, before I even moved to Hot Springs, I went down to Golden Leaves, and that's when I first met her. But we had lots of fun adventures together. Carol Albee and Donna and I would go up to Petty Jean Mountain for movies that they had. Donna told me stories about her life that were unbelievable. She almost died, and she was very unhealthy when she was young. This woman changed her entire life by the vitamins and minerals that she ate and took. And she became one of the healthiest people I've ever known. She never had a wrinkle in her face, so that tells you how happy and free of care she was. She was kidnapped in Florida and talked the kidnapper out of harming her. He drove her to some strange place, a gas station, and she talked to him about whether he had children or not. He said he had 2, and she said, well, this is not how you want your children to remember you. And she was able to convince him to let her go. I mean, this woman was so brave and so courageous and so unbelievable in the things that she experienced in her lifetime. I'm so honored and pleased and just proud that she was a part of my life. I went to Creative Life Church, and that's Donna and I were on the board together. So I really got to know her pretty well. I spent a lot of time visiting with her. I would go to her home and just learned so much from her. She was the most compassionate, kind, loving individual I've known. Never, ever said an unkind word about anyone, and always was so serene. I just loved her very, very much, and I know I'm going to miss her greatly.
I didn't know Donna all that well. I wish I had gotten to know her better, but my true love, Elliot Hendry, was a good friend of hers, and so I'm here today representing Elliot.
Donna and I loved to go crystal digging together, and I loved to cook for her, and she loved to eat my food, and I'd ask her what she'd want me to cook for her, and she'd say anything, just bring it over. And she always enjoyed that, and I always made sure that her freezer was full of food so she'd always have something good to eat, because I loved her so much. She was my dearest friend.
I don't know how many people know that what happened. Donna was escaping a situation when she went to New Orleans and started her bookstore. And someone gave her one book. She sold that one book and parlayed it into 2 books. She sold those 2 books and parlayed them into 6 books. And that is how she started that mega bookstore from one book.
Listen, this is one of the few people I've ever met that was such a joy to meet. A genuine person. She had so much to give. That metaphysical bookstore was a treasure trove beyond what most people would even know. But yes, Donna was a real wonderful soul, a good spirit.
I'm most grateful to Donna for her family, and that Eric asking me to do artwork and signs for when there's a celebration for Donna. I didn't know her really well, but I know that everyone loved and cherished her. And today I learned so much more. And so now I love and cherish her more.
Donna and I are kindred spirits because we try to listen. And she's the great person. So the quietness and the stillness is how we connected. Thank you so much. God bless Donna.
Hi, Mike Thomas. When I moved here in 2007, I met Donna because we were publishing a magazine, Natural Awakenings magazine. And Donna, of course, having the bookstore, she took the magazines right off. It was Healthy Living, Healthy Planet. I made friends, ended up living a block away. And the one thing I want to say about Donna that I just loved, in the wintertime it'd get really cold and I took her some soup over. And I still remember when I came back with another quart of soup, she came to the door and she said, "Oh, that's the best soup. You make the best soup." And she would do that every time I'd bring her a quart of soup, and I just kept bringing her more soup just to hear her say that. She warmed my heart. Beautiful woman. She's a sweetheart.
Donna was an amazing person. I really enjoyed her, and I learned today that she was born June 7th as a Gemini, and now I understand why she could do so many things all at once, just like I tend to do that too. And I don't know, I enjoy being a triple Gemini. And I agree with a lot of her philosophy and what have you. And see you soon. Bye.